Good morning, Year 10. It's Mr McLindon here. Hope you're all keeping safe and well and that your families are well too. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of help with this week's task, which is responding to Macbeth. We're going to ask you to do 2 GCSE answers, just like you would in the real exam. Okay, so to help you this week, we have a couple of things. We have, first of all, if you missed it last week, there's a really pacey and entertaining production of Macbeth. It's live, it's from the Globe. It was recorded live with an audience. And if you just go on that YouTube link, you'll be able to watch it. I watched it with my 7-year-old daughter. She really enjoyed it, although it was a bit scary for her when they ripped Macbeth's heart out at the end. Also, we have a Seneca code, so you can do a little bit of revision. There's some stuff on Malcolm there, who's on Act 4, which is one of the big acts with Malcolm in, which is the second writing task you're going to be doing. If you prefer just to type in the link, there's the link, and that'll get you to that Seneca code. Okay, so 2 parts. As usual, I want you to email your answers to english@grangeacademy.co.uk and put your English teacher's name in the box, where the subject box, or send a really clear photograph using Show My Homework. If I'm absolutely honest, it's probably easier for us on the email, but if you can take a really good picture, if you don't have any email access, and put it on Show My Homework, that'll do too. Okay, 20 minutes on part A, 40 minutes on part B. Let's have a look at the part A question. What does this extract show an audience about Lady Macbeth's state of mind at this point in the play? Refer closely to details from the extract to support your answer. 15 marks, and the second question we'll look at later. Write about Malcolm and the way he is presented. 25 marks, 5 for correct spelling, punctuation and grammar. Okay, so what does this extract show about Lady Macbeth's, state of mind? Lady Macbeth had just finished reading Macbeth's letter. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor thou shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature, it is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. So the witches have told Macbeth that he will be Thane of Cawdor, and it's come true. They told him he will be king, and she says, you shall be what thou art promised. In other words, she's expecting him to be king. But she feels he is too full of the milk of human kindness, that he's actually too much of a good guy to catch the nearest way to kill the king himself. Thou wouldst be great, not without ambition, but without the illness that should attend it. So she believes he doesn't have enough illness, in other words, enough evil inside him. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou'st have great Glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishes should be undone. Okay, basically she's talking a little bit in riddles, isn't she? But she's worried that he could be great, but he won't take the opportunity. She does say that he has some ambition, or not without ambition, but like I said earlier, without the illness. Hie thee hither, come here. We're looking at a powerful woman here. Get yourself here, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, that I can persuade you to kill the king, and chastise thee with the valour of my tongue. In other words, chastise normally means to punish, but with my tongue I'm going to put you right. All that impedes thee from the golden round. Obviously the golden round is a metaphor, isn't it, for the crown. To impede means to get in the way of. She's going to chastise everything that stops him becoming king. She's going to get in the way of it. Which fate, in other words, look, a metaphysical aid the witches doth seem to have crowned thee withal. Fate and the witches already seem to have made you king, so I'm going to make you take the extra jump and get there. Okay, so it's a 20-minute task. You're just looking for 3 to 4 quotations. Whenever you can, try and comment upon Pete. I'm looking for quality like this. The extract comes from the scene where, little introduction, show the examiner you know the paper, so you know the text, you know whereabouts this extract comes from. So this extract comes from the scene where Lady Macbeth has just discovered from a letter that the witches have prophesied that Macbeth will become Thane of Cawdor, then king. You're showing the examiner you know exactly what's happening. Lady Macbeth's state of mind, I've put that in red. I'm referring to the question, that's what the question asks. And I'm saying what a state of mind is. Always answer the question clearly. What is a state of mind? She seems to be determined. She appears to have a state of mind of determination. She states bluntly that, always try and get quotes in. Macbeth shall be what thou art promised. Shakespeare's use of the imperative verb shalt shows that Lady Macbeth was no doubts in her mind that her husband will become king. So that verb, maybe it's a modal verb actually, but it's saying to us Macbeth's going to become king. So there's a really good kind of opening. Try and write your own if you wish, or use that waggle, and then try and do 3 more quotations like that in the space of maybe 17 minutes, and that'll be a really good answer. So task number 1 is to continue that answer yourself. Okay, essay task 40 minutes. So write about how Shakespeare presents Malcolm at different points in the play. And this slide has basically got the information you need there. Malcolm appears quite cowardly, doesn't he, at the start? He runs away. Or is that good judgment? It's up to you to decide. We've got that quote, "This murderous shaft that shot have not yet lighted. They've killed his king, his father. But are there more arrows flying that have not yet landed? The shaft that shot refers to an arrow being shot. Not yet lighted, not yet landed." Later on, he seems clever. He sees if Macduff's a good guy. He pretends he's terrible himself. Malcolm says, "Esteem him, Macbeth, as a lamb being compared with my confineless harms." In other words, I'll harm everyone. There's no confines, there's no limits to who I will harm. Macduff then obviously finds that his wife and children are dead. Malcolm says, "Dispute it like a man." He seems quite unsympathetic, seems to lack sort of the softer skills you'd expect of a good leader. And yet it does make Macduff decide he wants to go and kill Macbeth, so perhaps he's actually successful in the end. Macbeth sees Malcolm as young Malcolm. "I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet." So Macbeth still sees him as a weak figure. However, at the end, is Malcolm a worthy king? He says that in measure, time and place, he'll put everything right. He's going to think about things. He's going to try and make careful judgments, things that people we've seen on the throne before, Macbeth and Duncan, haven't done. Okay, so in introduction, state who Malcolm is. Who is he? Obviously, he's a prince. He's an heir to the throne. Initially, it could be suggested he's weak. We've talked about that as the play progresses. So obviously use the table off the previous slide to help you write a really clear answer. You'd have 40 minutes. It's quite a long time. Be looking for 5 or 6 paragraphs. And there's sort of your first 4 paragraphs there, little starter sentences and so on. And obviously the table beforehand to back all that up. Okay, and finally, conclusion. So to conclude, Shakespeare presents a complex character. I've started with a connective to conclude. I've provided an answer. What's Malcolm like? He's a complex character. Malcolm is initially portrayed as, so I'm going to summarise my points. He then, in the final scene, so you kind of sum it what you've said already, and if you can you do some famous last words? Perhaps Shakespeare is suggesting that, and that'll make a really strong answer. So, 1 20-minute answer, you just use the extract. You've got a waggle for repeat paragraph, see if you can do 3 more. Maybe start it again, don't use the waggle, do your own. And then the 40-minute essay question, remember spelling, punctuation and grammar counts as well. The table's there, you've got these sentence starters here, give it your very best shot. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Best luck year 10, and I hope to be in touch again soon.